It's another return trip to Iowa for the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series, and that means we're right back at the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville Raceway. A flat half mile with tons of room to race. The groove tends to go outward quick, especially when the sun's still up like it is today. Welcome to Pit Stop TV, the virtual Knoxville, Iowa. I'm Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murdos alongside, and it's a pleasure to join you once again for coverage of the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. Tonight's coverage from Knoxville is brought to you by the DSCCS, Pit Stop TV, and by Whiplash Simcams. There you see the Casey's General Store located just across the street from the facility with gas prices we all wish we had right now. We have just ended the practice session, qualifying then happening here in just a moment behind us. But let's talk about this racetrack, Zach. And this is a fantastic place to race sprint cars. It is kind of the place to race sprint cars. Half mile, super fast, decently wide. You've got some options when the track is still tacky. When it gets slicked off, yeah, you're kind of top or bottom, and that's about it, but it still has options.
Yeah, Knoxville usually provides, I say usually, but it always provides some fantastic racing, whether it is in a sprint car, a modified, or even the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series when they came here a time or two. There's always something that tends to happen at Knoxville that makes it a showstopper, and coming here is just incredible. And to be perfectly honest, Andrew, this track stands out to me in more ways than one because, one, it's really big compared to other dirt tracks. Two, it's so fast for how flat it is. And three, it's got so many different characteristics, like how the berm, technically where you would think the apron is on an asphalt track, is elevated, which means these guys have a bit of a designated area, say that 5 times fast, of how low they can go before that car is going to get upset going over the berm.
It definitely has its own little quirks and stuff about it. It's a special place to race, certainly, when it comes to the dirt world. Of course, it's got the National Sprint Car Hall of Fame outside of turn number 2. You see it there in the B-roll that we're still playing. But let's get into the iRacing.com sim and take a look from high above. Qualifying happening now. Aiden Stull, fastest so far in this session. Of course, we don't really keep track of points or a schedule here in this series. We really just get together every Wednesday night that we can and have some fun with 410 sprint cars on the racetrack. And let's take a look at what a 410 sprint car truly is. This is the same car that you see in the World of Outlaws sprint car series. So it's World of Outlaws 410 sprint car, stock block, pushrod V8 engine, about 900 horsepower, a little over 700 foot-pounds of torque, still bias ply, Hoosier dirt tires. And you see the wide range of stagger from 8 inches to 17 inches between, I believe, front and back. I don't know what the number is specifically left to right, but it's some pretty big numbers. That right rear tire is large, and the big thing is these guys also get to work on their own setups each week. This is open setup racing, and they also have the ability to change that wing angle anytime they're on the racetrack. And you know, as the track changes this evening, we might see that come into play. We're on track for our first heat of the evening. I believe we're going to have about 3. Zach, you can correct me on that, but it looks like we're going to have about 3 as, here we go, into the iRacing.com session. We can go ahead and get a look at our first starting grid of the evening on pole for the ATVO starting grid. Let's go ahead and do it this way without the photos, I suppose. There we go. Aiden Stull on pole this evening alongside Matthew Gowans in the number 21. Back to row 2, it's Mike Augustine and Dustin Sargent, not to be confused with Dalton or Logan. Back in row 3, Scott Thomason and Braden Matson. And your final 3 cars in the field, Richie Gaines, Matthew Croak, and finally Jacob Harris joining us for this evening's festivities at Knoxville Raceway. I'm excited for this, Zach. It's the same formula as always, you know, up to 6 8-lap heats. We'll have DC B mains as needed. 22 cars will make the feature for 35 laps this evening. Open setup. Only green flag laps will count as you would expect for a dirt race like this. Unlimited green white checkers if we need them, and no fast fixes available at all this evening. So you've got to be picture perfect. There are some pretty nice payouts though in this series. I believe it's 100 to win still. So there's definitely some cash to be earned.
Always cash on the line, and always a great place to try and win some money here at Knoxville. The MXWraps.com race weather, ambient temp is honestly perfect for a hot summer night, 82.9 degrees Fahrenheit, with a track temp of only 70. I'd say it's a little bit on the cooler side, but hey, this is dirt, not asphalt, and that's what I'm used to racing. So I'm used to a bit of a hotter track, you know?
And here we go. It's going to be a hot summer night in Knoxville, Iowa. Aiden Stahl leads us to the start zone. Green flag, 8 laps, heat 1 underway at Knoxville. And already, one car in the wall, Scott Thomason towards the back. He's in trouble. He'll take his car down to the aid of the safety workers in pit lane. The virtual ones, that is. We get 1 lap in. Aiden Stahl out front. Augustine, Gowan, Sargent. They are your top 4.
And Thomason already going to be 1 lap down as Augustine goes quickest as we click by the flag stand. 15:10 is your quickest lap as he is chasing down the leader of Stahl. Looking to the bottom, Gallons might try to make a move. He's not close enough to really throw it in there yet to secure that position. But honestly, if you're locked into a transfer spot, why risk it?
Very single groove so far, as these guys are all around the top side of the racetrack trying to push that cushion up a little bit. It is still pretty low. You're looking at the transfer right now. Matthew Gowan's in that 21 as it's scored, the number 8 on the car. The first car out is Dustin Sargent. Let's ride on board with the number 77. Halfway down, halfway to go. Actually, a little past halfway now in heat number 1 as 5 are complete. 3 to go last time by the flag stand. A bobble there out of Gowans. Can Sargent take advantage? Another slow car. Matthew Croak has trouble in the back. Richie Gaines along with him. So the top 6 keep ripping. 2 to go.
He saw a big bobble out of Gallons, but he's able to keep a hold on it. He runs a little higher into 3, Andrew. Closing in is Sargent as Gallons loses on the top 2. It's white flag in the air presented by Whiplash Simcams. 1 to go in the heat. Still very close together, but as they rip through 3 and 4, heat 1 is going to go the way of Stoll as he crosses the line. Augustine and Gallons make it top 3. And Sargent and Matson is going to be your top 5.
And there you see Stahl, the first driver to advance on into tonight's 22-car feature. We'll take the top 3 here from each heat. That'll be Stahl, Augustine, and Gowans here from heat number 1 as we get ready for heat number 2. As we have a moment here between heats, Zach, I do want to mention we are live to a new platform for the first time in a long time, and this is the first time we've ever gone live to TikTok. So we are live on TikTok this evening. This is pretty darn cool. We've been trying to get some more content over there, and it's just cool to see us finally live. I will say TikTok tried to flag us immediately for the music. Look, we've got a license for it, so we already hit the appeal button on that. Hopefully we get that sorted out. But hey, we're trying. We're trying to get out to the masses at least this evening. And there you see, Zach, the new social graphic that I've been telling you I was going to pop in here at some point to surprise you. But we've got Discord on there now, TikTok on there now, so you can find us on all these different platforms all across the internet. That said, Zach, here we go. It's the second grid of the evening, Heat 2 coming at you.
Fully Aiden Forster is going to lead the field to green in this second heat with Noah Bowman to his outside. See, I said Bowman this time, not Bauman. Row number 2, Tayton Sander and Cody Downard are going to line up side by side. And then right behind them in 5th and 6th, it's going to be Tucker Elkins and Yancey Beasley. Behind them, rolling off in row number 4, it's going to be Peyton Overmeyer and Joseph Groom. And behind them, rounding out the field, it's Vinny Sansone in that 9th position, the number 80 car. So, once again, Andrew, another 9-car heat to lead us through the rest of this night. We got some stacked drivers in this one.
And Zach, this is the first time I've ever had to do this. Thank you for the heart me, the corn in TikTok. This is going to be weird, adding this, but... yeah, we've got hearts, we've got corn, we've got a grand
Iowa
time.
corn.
Yeah, hey, we are in Iowa, so it fits. But here we go, Heat 2 on deck. We're going to go racing 8 laps. Again, 3 will transfer as we start to set our field for this evening's 35 lap feature race. Aiden Forster was the winner last time out here at Knoxville after review. As far as Tanner Pettit, Pettit was sent to the back of the field and Forster was awarded the win. Here we go, green flag, heat number 2. One in the wall, big hit there. I think that was Downard. Yes, it was. He is rolled over on the front straightaway. No caution here in Heat 2. Will keep racing. Doesn't have the fast fix to have helped him anyway, so that is Downard down and out already.
Once again, another lap 1 incident in this second heat, as it was in heat number 1. You hate to see it for all drivers involved. But
oh no! Contact! There goes Tucker Ellis around. That was for the 4th position, it looks like. Here comes Yancey Beasley with a slider. He shoves Peyton Overmeyer in the wall. Beasley will take over 4th. They are still not in a transfer. They're allowing these guys to get away. Tayton Sander, the final car in, and there's the caution. I would guess that we will see Beasley sent to the rear of the field. I don't know that for sure. However, yeah, that kind of surprises me, actually, that we get a caution. We haven't seen many heat race cautions at all here in this series, so we've got one here. I guess we can go back and try to pull a replay there. Do want to get back. So here's going to be Downard off the start. I want to see this incident first. He started 4th. And yes, thank you, Kayla, for the corn and the heart. Here is Downard, turn 3. That's Overmeyer, rather Ellis ahead of him. Elkins, rather. Downard just gets net coded out into the wall. We fast forward up a little bit. See if we can find what happened to Overmeyer. This is behind it, so let's try one more time. And this is eventually what I think puts us under yellow. Beasley gets into Overmeyer via netcode and shoves the 18 in the wall. It's hard to say for sure if that would or would not have been contact in reality, Zach, but there was definitely some space there on the iRacing side.
Yeah, definitely. And you just hate to see how it goes for all drivers involved. But we're going to roll right through it. Lights are going to be out on top of the pace truck, and we're going to go back to green flag racing with only about 5 laps left to go in this heat race. 5 laps is a lot of time sometimes, Andrew. Could make or break your night on either transferring in or having to run a B feature.
We'll get ourselves 4 laps here at the restart. 4 down, 4 to go. Green flag once again from the fan cam. Last car in currently, that's Tayton Sander. He's down to the inside of Bowman through 3 and 4. That will not stick. He'll fall back into that 3rd spot once again. Yancey Beasley did hang on to 4th spot, Zach, so no penalty out of that. I would have assumed there would have been, but I guess race control going to leave that and maybe talk about it later on when it's not so crammed for time. 2 to go.
Look at just how much these guys are pushing that limit on these cars, Andrew, and they're pushing the dirt further and further up. The line just keeps on adapting. You can see the lighter and darker patches of where these guys are running a little bit in the dark as the white flag is out, Andrew, riding on board, trying to go for that transfer spot.
And there you see Sander covered up the bottom, covered up the slider opportunity there for Beasley. So no change at the top 3 through that heat race. It'll be Forster, Bowman, Sander advancing on to the feature. The rest have to go through the B. I think we'll be taking most of these drivers into the A feature this evening, but you've still got to go through the processes to get there. Here we go. Heat 3 on deck this evening. It will be led off by Tanner Pettit, who, again, led the field to the checkers when we were here last in, I believe, April. However, I believe, at least, was not credited with the win, technically. What I saw on Facebook from the series was that Forster got the win, so we'll go with that. But here we go. You see cars hitting the dirt. Tanner Pettit going to lead us to the green with that 10,600 I rating, but it's a world-class driver over his shoulder. World Championship driver, however you want to put it. Kenny Hoffman in the TPR colors as well from second place. Ross Corinta in third position. Jesse Dacus there in fourth. Still some solid I ratings even there in row 2 and 3. Jace Schaff, Casey Simons. A little farther back, we have one final row on the field. Damian Paul and Randy Shreves. It looks like Lionel Laframbeau. Golly. I like to believe I'm pretty good with last names, Zach. Just phonetically sounding them out. I ain't got nothing there.
Off from Boise?
Off from Boise, maybe? I mean, because... Off from Bois? I don't know. I see B-O-I-S-E. I think Boise, Idaho. He's not in the grid, though, so... at least not in the car. We'll see if he makes it into the V in a little bit, but... Regardless, I do want to give a big thank you to our partners here at the channel. There are a handful of them. Whiplash Simcams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murder Esports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League, Whiplash Creative, and TZO Designs. If you're hearing our voices for the very first time, seeing our sites for the very first time, welcome to Pitstop TV. We like to do this all throughout the week. Sim racing broadcasting, particularly on iRacing, and we are joining you over on TikTok for the very first time live. So glad to be here. Let's see how this thing goes as we get ready to begin heat race number 3 for the Dirt Sprint Car Championship Series. Here we go. Green flag, 8 laps, 3 transfer. That's our first side-by-side fight out of turn 2 for the transfer all night long. Corinta trying to get that third spot. That's Schaff right behind. Now Schaff goes low. And look at this move into turn 1. Schaff going to throw the slider. Corinta has to pedal it. And a little farther back, Dacus and Simons, they check up. And here's the slider now out of Corinta. Big move. These guys are throwing sliders left and right, crossing back over. Schaff now back ahead. Corinta tries to go lower, but Schaff covers it up that time, runs the middle. Here comes Dacus behind of that yellow car, and there's the move from Corinta back down to the bottom, and Schaff has to pedal back underneath. Corinta, Schaff, Dacus, Simons. This is your battle for the transfer. One of these will make it, maybe, if they can keep it together. There's a big move out of Simons, go up to 4th. He gets in the wall briefly. Schaff back underneath. This is fantastic racing for the final transfer out of a heat race this evening. Oh, boy. Dacus checked up. That holds Schaff up now. Dacus hits the berm on the inside. I think that was 3 to go up the stripe. Yes, it was. Casey Simons, he's going to make a run at it now down into turn number 3. That will take the transfer for a moment. Dacus in the air briefly in the back. He's out of it. There goes Corinta back to 3rd. 2 to go. This is happening so quick, but it's now mano y mano for the final transfer as Pettit and Hoffman have driven away. 1 lap to go. White flag brought to you by Whiplash Simcams in heat number 3. Simons back to the bottom. He goes basement to attic. Attic to basement, rather, for Corinta. He's now going to send the slider into turn number 3. Who's going to have it off the 4th turn? To the stripe. Drag race. I think Corinta might have had it. I don't know. Simons. 4 1/1000ths of a second. Simons transfers into the feature. Wow. I don't think we really have the time, unfortunately, to get a photo of that finish. 4 1/1000ths of a second per timing and scoring, separating those two drivers at the line. And that is what puts Simon straight to the feature and sends Corinta now to row 2 of our B main that is hitting the grid now. That was good. Let's take a look then at your starting grid for our B main this evening. Of course, brought to you by ATVL. Let's take a look through. Dustin Sargent on the front row. Yancey Beasley will start from the 2nd spot. Starting back in third, Ross Carenta going to have to do it all over again. The good news is the transfer is much, much wider in this B main. We took 9 from the heats, so we'll take 13 here from the B. Carenta and Matson make up row number 2. Back in row 3, it is Groom and Schaff. A little farther back in row 4, Jacob Harris and Vinny Sansone. And to complete your top 10, Randy Shreves and Matthew Croak. The final 3 that'll be starting from a transfer spot here in the B main are Tucker Elkins, the Australian, Damian Paul, and Richie Gaines. They're in the number 20. Peyton Overmeyer, first car out currently. Back in row 8, we'll have Jesse Dacus and Scott Thomason. And finally, Cody Downard will make up the final starting position in tonight's B main race. Again, 13 will transfer out of this one, 17 on the grid, 4 will go home. You certainly don't want to be that one that has to do that. Well, let's see what else is upcoming for us here at Pit Stop TV briefly. Again, you can catch us all across our social media platforms. This is the wrong one, technically. I will say we meant to have the one that shows this Friday's show. So I'll verbally tell you, we will be live this Friday evening with the Steering Wheel Nation Truck Series at Nashville Super Speedway. Keep an eye out for that. Trucks, Nashville, always a good time. But then the next 3 after that, you've got the Norwich Cup Series at Sonoma, and then the week after at Chicagoland, and in between another show for us here with these dirt sprint cars. But we're breaking out the wingless cars. We'll be headed to Williams Grove and Mechanicsburg next week. I'm excited for that as we get set to go here for our B main this evening. Onto the front straightaway. We are racing here. B main action, 13 advance. First stop in the books, led commandingly by Sargent. Carenta second, Beasley, Matson, Schaff, your top 5. I do really enjoy the statics here, Zach, especially when the track is a little more dusty like this. Oh my gosh, this is beautiful.
Yeah, once the dust starts coming in and the track gets a little dried out, it makes it a little less visible, but honestly, I feel like it adds so much complexity.
That was Jacob Harris that got put up in the fence out of turn 2.
Going
They're
backwards.
sorting things out in the midfield. Guys, you're all in transfer spots. Don't muck this up too bad. You are in. The first car out is Overmeyer, and there's a problem for Dacus. Dacus is now going to be out. He's out of the transfer. Overmeyer's in. Overmeyer, the white 18 on the inside. That puts Harris in the final transfer, I think. No, Gaines now is 13th. Thomason is 14th. There's Thomason and Downard. And one around. There goes Overmeyer. There's the caution.
Overmeyer gets it back rolling. But the caution flag still out for the first time tonight in the B main. Only 5 laps left of racing, Andrew. And now they're going to get bunched back up for a restart.
Yeah, let's see what happened here. A little bit of contact, I think, out of turn 4 this next time around. So there was the send from Overmeyer. That was to get around, I forget the name now. I would know it. I think Harris, and then boom, just a massive hit from that number 11. I'm not sure. That might have been Shreves. No, it was somebody else. It's hard to say because these guys don't always have the right number on their car. That was Richie Gaines, it looks like, possibly. That was just a big, big send, and yeah, that was Gaines, and he is now in the pit lane. I'm not sure if that's a black flag from race control or what, but, I mean, that was just a big hit from the number 11 that took Overmeyer effectively out of this, and like he'll get back going. Carenta's going to lead us back to the green, it looks like, Zach. That should happen next time around, as we've got one more caution lap here. The iRacing.com pace truck lights still illuminated. Couple of cars picking back up to the field. Gaines and Overmeyer will get back in the field. They will stay on the lead lap. But they're going to have a lot of work to do. Now, we saw just how much the field can move around in just a few laps, but I would not want to be in that spot of trying to get myself back into a transfer from 4 spots deep behind that line. That does not sound fun.
Yeah, it's not a lot of time to make something happen. You just gotta play your cards right and hope everything falls in your favor.
Is caution going to go a little bit longer? No. Looks like caution lights have just been extinguished. So we will give this another shot this time around. Into the start zone. Oh boy, he checked him up. Carinta, bit of a jackrabbit there to the start zone. Green flag. And who that might end up benefiting, Zach, is all these guys at the back who need spots to get into the show. I know it's high above right now, but you see the marching ants around the racetrack. It is just craziness. One goes down low. That's that bright yellow car of Dacus. He's to the inside now of Gaines. Gaines is back into a transfer into hard. Harris. Jacob Harris rolling down the back straightaway. Caution again.
Looks like we're going to re-rack them and restack them one more time, Andrew.
I think Harris may have hit the ejectocito pretty quick, but at least take a look at what happened to him here. Gaines on his outside. Dacus in front of him. Dacus got him checked up, and then was that Overmeyer that got him, maybe?
I think so.
Gotta look at it here. It was Overmeyer, yeah. I mean, nothing Overmeyer did wrong, really. Just wrong place, wrong time for each of those guys.
It's really hard to say whether or not there was wrongdoing there, Andrew, because dirt track racing is just so complex in the way of these cars are so on edge. You know, we see a lot of asphalt cars that are particularly on edge, but these things, it's one misstep, one step in the wrong direction, and you could end up taking somebody out.
And you know, these cars are built very specifically to turn left very quickly in a sideways manner, and that's about it. They don't even like to go straight. The only thing they do well is corner, and even then, they don't corner very well. They are so hard to get around the corner effectively. You've got to have the right setup, and that maybe can make it easier, but especially these 410s, you know, the 305s we saw last week for Regal promos, I mean, those cars are a little easier to drive technically, but even they are hard to handle to get around in just the right way. You know, finding that fine line, it takes a lot of racing intelligence and skill, frankly. So definitely very complex cars as far as actually racing in them, let alone just getting a few laps in. So here we go. Start zone again. This will be for Carinta at the front of the field. 2 to go. He stacks them up again. Green flag, though. Drivers will not be happy with those starts. Kind of stopping the field there in turn 4. They're not going to like that big crash. That might settle the transfer pretty quick. Oh, my goodness. It was a junkyard in turn 3.
There was one down there on the inside wall. The white flag just came out.
Multiple cars rolled.
And they're still wrecking. Big one in turn number 2.
Multiple moreover. Carinta will transfer straight in. He is across the line first. Schaff, it looks like, will be the final car to make it, maybe. He's in reverse trying to get back around. Can Thomason get there? No, he's in the pit lane. Beasley's on his lid. I think it's going to keep Beasley in, but wow. It's like nobody wanted to actually make it into the show. I think Thomason's trying to get the car rolling now. Honestly, Zach, he might be able to transfer just by rolling around the racetrack here. Beasley's last scoring position was turn 3 on his lid. Thomason, no, it looks like it's going to keep Thomason out. Wow. That's all I can say there.
Yeah, I've seen guys not want to lead a race before, but oh man.
I've never seen guys fight to not make it. Right? Like, I've seen guys, you know, end up wrecking themselves racing for the win, and it's like they don't want to win the thing, but I've never seen guys fight that hard to not even make it into the show. That was incredible in all the wrong ways. It's a little bit humorous for us, and at the end of the day, Zach, it's sim racing. It's I hate to put it this way on broadcast, but it's pixel cars. We like to, you know, give it some pomp and circumstance and make it a big thing, and it is, but at the end of the day, it is a sim. they're all fine. Maybe it hurt their hands or wrist a little bit. Hopefully nobody's hurt too badly, but that's really the only injury you could, I think, get from sim racing, at least in one of these crashes, unless you're in a motion rig. But man, if you're in a motion rig driving 410 sprint cars and iRacing, you're much more bold than I.
You wouldn't catch me using motion rig for sprint cars, Andrew.
Absolutely not. That sounds like a really great way to wear out a motion rig way too fast. Regardless.
Or throw up.
Possibly. Yeah, VR. I don't know how people do VR in dirt and rallycross and stuff. Yeah, more power to you if you can. A big thank you once again to our partners, Whiplash SimCams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murder C Sports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League. We'll actually be nominating 4 drivers, just like always, for the Driver of the Day vote here very soon, so keep an eye out for that. Whiplash Creative and TZO Designs as well. And there you see everybody circulating the racetrack, getting their laps in this warm-up session, get the track run back in a little bit. I think there was a slight reset, but I still see a lot of rubber, a lot of shiny bits of dirt out there, so it looks like it wasn't reset too badly, if at all. It's still pretty worn. I think it's going to be a good race, especially running under the lights now, all the heat races with the sun up, and now you see in the sim we have sent the sun down below the horizon. We've turned the lights on. This is going to be a fun one. 35 laps coming at you real quick. Aiden Stahl going to lead us to the green. Aiden Forster. It's the front row of Aidens this evening. Stahl and Forster, your front row. Tanner Pettit will start from third with Mike Augustine over his right shoulder. Back in fifth, Noah Bowman alongside Kenny Hoffman. And 7th and 8th will give us Matthew Gowans and Tayton Sander. To complete your top 10 this evening, Zach, how about Casey Simons and Ross Carinta?
Rolling outside the top 10 is going to be Dustin Sargent in that 11th spot, with to his outside Braden Matson in the number 25 car. 13th and 14th, you'll find Joseph Groom and Matthew Kroc, with right behind them in the 15th and 16th starting position, you'll find Vinny Sansone and Cody Downard. Right behind them, though, 17th and 18th on the starting grid, row number 9, Jesse Dawkins and Damian Fall in that number 52 car and the number 7 car to his inside. And then Randy Shreves and Richie Gaines in 19th and 20th position, with Yancey Beasley and Jay Schaff right behind them in row number 11. And that is going to complete your 22-car field, Andrew, as they are set to roll here under the lights. You know what they say, Andrew, the nighttime is the right time to party, and well, we certainly had a party at Cookout Summer Shootout the last 2 nights. So if that's any consolation, these guys are going to have a whale of a time.
Yeah, last night's show at Charlotte Motor Speedway certainly was one to behold. Aiden Forster, by the way, has not made it to the grid. I'm not sure what's going on for Forster, but he is not on the racetrack. So Augustine will assume the 2nd place starting position. Everybody on the outside lane bumps up a row, and we will start 21 instead, which Thomas, of course, wishes he could have then bumped into that 22nd spot, but that's the way she goes sometimes here on the iRacing.com sim. And there you see from the fan cam all the virtual fans ready for this one. Again, 35 laps this evening, open setup, green only counting. So if we do have any cautions, they will not count towards those 35 laps. We've got to get them in under green. I think technically it cycles 1 lap every caution, but that's just, again, part of how it goes. So in turns 3 and 4, we'll send them green flag this time. Aiden Stahl at the front of the field. And here we go, into the start zone. There we go, racing again here at Knoxville Raceway, the sprint car capital of the world for the Sprint Car Championship Series. First lap complete. I'm glad Barney got his arm back through. He's liable to get a hit by a sprint car wing. In the wall hard, Augustine oversteps the bounds. The fireworks are going lively here for the first lap of racing. And there's one flipping. Big problems. I think that might have been Matson. He's in the pit lane already. I dare say it was.
The caution already out for the first time tonight on lap number 2. One car there with no wing, both wings missing as they roll into the pit lane. This is the replay of how it all transpired.
There was a slow car ahead. That was the 77 of Sargent. Wow.
You know, it's fireworks to go off.
Yeah, you know it's bad too when your crash immediately sends you to the Shadow Realm. You don't even get a chance to limp back to the pit lane or anything. Just up into the wall and then out of the park. That was large for Matson. And then we saw that issue for Augustine as well. I want to see if we can get a look at that real quick. Let's see if we can. Here's Augustine into turns 1 and 2, just over the cushion, and that put him up in the wall pretty darn hard. And then here comes the field. That there is what caused that checkup for Sargent. Whatever that was right behind Augustine. Let me see if I can get that really quick. That looks to have been right here. That is the 12 of Tayton, or 42 rather, of Tayton Sander. And of course the fireworks not playing nicely, but now you see a bit more of what caused all of that. And so we'll send them back in green. I think this time around, yes we will. You see the dirt getting piled up there next to the barrier. And we'll try this whole thing all over again. We'll have 2 laps in the books. That means 33 to go. Aiden Stahl gonna lead us back to the green flag. Wait for it in the start zone. We are racing once again at Knoxville. Tanner Pettit, solid restart. He gets down to the inside of Augustine. Augustine got a redo here, but we're racing for second. Tanner's got the outside.
Goes quickest overall of 16-1 all the way up to the wall, nearly dipping that right rear into the fence. Down to the bottom though, tries to throw it in there as hard as he can on Stoll. Not gonna make it work just yet. Augustine trying to find a way to fight back up to the front, while Hoffman is looking to see if he can take a spot away here. Loses the spot actually to Bowman.
There you see the fight, Bowman pulling away. He's in the wall now, though. He checks up. Hoffman pulls right back to his inside. That's going to bring Gowans in that blue number 8 car along with. As they continue to fight it out for 4th spot. Caution to the back. Jesse Dacus, he's in trouble once again. That bright yellow number 7, I think, is already out of here. And on the virtual hauler, I suppose, headed back home because he is already listed as out of the session. Here is the number 7 and what happened to him. That's Jace Schaff. Right behind, Yancey Beasley ahead. So a lot of the guys have been racing each other already through heats in the B main, and man, that's rough. Another look here. Just gets up into the wall and onto his side.
Try to hang on to the best of his ability, and the rear end just snapped around on him. And you know, Andrew, it's a product of this style of racing. We see cars snap all the time and get loose and spin around, but you know, on a dirt track, it just feels different. Let me see if I can explain this correctly. So when an asphalt car spins, to my knowledge and to my feeling overall, it catches as it spins, and traction still builds, the friction still builds, and it helps bring you to a stop. On a dirt track, it just feels like it's sliding the whole time. It doesn't really want to stop. It just wants to keep going until the momentum is finally run out.
You know, I wonder, we might have to get, you get a good deal of the TV side at this point for this, right? So I feel like maybe at some point, we've got Josh Conover, who did step in at the back end of the Nora race the other night at Michigan. I wonder if maybe one of these shows, we put the two of you in the booth, since he's got some dirt experience, I think micros and stuff, see what you guys can do together. That might be an interesting way to see how one of these broadcasts can work one of these weeks, but Good to see Josh out in the YouTube chat along with Nick Geilis. Here we go, green flag once again from the fan cam. And Tanner Pettit to the lead. How about that moving 3 and 4? You saw it from one of the fan positions. Here we go, slider back from stall. And there goes Pettit right back on through. Slide job there in 3. He's a lot more clear, though, than either of the slide jobs prior. So Tanner Pettit gets clear. He now hits the slider line down in 1. Runs the bottom side through 1 and 2. But here comes Stahl back on the outside.
Stahl stepped out just a tad, rolling through 3 and 4. Brings it right back up to him. These guys are bouncing off of turn number 2. They're fighting side by side. There's contact behind them for the top 5. I think that was Bowman and Gallons, as Gallons is dropping down the running order. Now Bowman, they're all over the place, Andrew. Back here trying to run as hard as they can. Wow, that was close.
This has been a really aggressive night of racing. To the inside, here comes Bowman on Gowans. This is the battle now for 4th position. The leaders have spread apart very slightly. And now through 3 and 4, there you see Ross Carinta from winning the B main. He is now 6th in the feature. He has just gotten by Kenny Hoffman, who's going to try and keep working that bottom side. Carinta, though, using the top, working the hill right there, trying to stay ahead. This is for 6th. Hoffman has the advantage now. Never mind.
Big crossover move in the wall. Hoffman going backwards. Simons rolls on by. This is on board with Carinta in the 6th position, trying to fight for that top 5 as hard as he can. Next car up the road would be Bowman. And we're getting ready to click past about halfway in this race, Andrew. We're starting to see guys run different lines all throughout the racetrack. Some prefer the bottom right now. A lot of guys prefer the middle. But there are quite a few that are preferring the top line and utilizing that speed from pushing all of that dirt up to carry it through on corner exit.
Well, you know, I like that we're finally seeing some racing here this evening. We've had a lot of start and stop with the cautions, but this isn't, I think, the longest one we've had in the feature so far, certainly in the feature, let alone through, I think, any of the heats or B mains. So we're starting to see the field spread out a little bit, and if they can keep this rolling, we might see some lap traffic for the leaders. But right now on your screen, the battle is Croak and Sansone. This is 9th and 10th. I've spoken too soon, Zach. We've got a caution for Joseph Groom.
On his side and towing to the pit lane, Joseph Groom. He was running up in the top 10, Andrew. So it's sad to see him out of this race.
The 77 on the left side of the screen, that is Dustin Sargent. The other car there, I want to say that is that Downard maybe? Oh my gosh. How did that not send him to the Shadow Realm? That was
catch fence?
Violent. He just got up on the wall on his own and then got right reared there. Wow.
Oh my goodness.
I'm scared for what we're about to show you. If you do have trouble with motion sickness, nausea, look away.
Stomach.
Look away. Jeez.
The gyro cam does not do that any favors. Wow.
Yeah, our driver's eye POV there did not like any bit of that. Wow. that was an aggressive crash. Well, this gives us a kind of reset right about halfway in this race. How about that? 17 down, 18 to go. And I can tell you what, Zach, we will begin this driver of the day conversation very soon once we go back green. There is the 1 to green signal, which means we'll restart the next time by the flag stand. We won't do it just yet. Let's see if we can get a few more laps in. If we get another caution, we'll do it then, but it's so tricky to do it too early in the race, too late in the race. It's hard to find the right time, but those of you watching, if you're watching anywhere but YouTube, we can only do the vote right now on YouTube, so be ready for that. Just giving you some pre-warning, I suppose, as we get set to go back green flag this evening. 17 complete, 18 to go in our feature race at Knoxville. A slow start for the leaders in the bottom. On the outside is that groom up there. He's in the wall.
More cars in the wall through 3 and 4. Slow out of 4.
That was Bowman, rather, on the outside that made that big restart up top. Augustine took note. Pettit still ahead of Stull. Augustine running the top side now. That is Gowans in the 4th position, as Bowman's just a little bit all over. He's got speed. His car is just really unsettled. It's all over the place.
Look at these guys. You can see just how much dirt has pushed up against the fence. There are mounds starting to form up there. These guys keep running over and upsetting the race car down to the bottom, trying to find a way backboard once again. Bowman slides it in there.
That was an aggressive slider. He'll fall right back behind Gowans in the 8 car. A little further back, Simons and Croak are battling. Croak goes ahead. That's for 7th. Simons in 8th. Schaff in 9th. And Gaines makes up our top 10 currently. All right, Zach, I said we were going to go ahead and do it real quick after the restart. It's that time. A little over 10 to go here. They go by quickly. Who do you have for driver of the day?
You know, Andrew, most of the time, out of respect for you being the lead broadcaster, I try to let you make the obvious picks, but I'm going to take that away from you, and I'm going to go straight for Pettit. He has put on a good show to keep himself up at the front, and Stoll is going to be my second pick, because these guys have been putting on a show, a clinic for the rest of the field behind. They are not separated by much as they're going for the race lead once again.
Stoll inside. Pettit was just all over. Caution going to save them. That might... I don't know who it's going to credit with the lead. It might get it back to Pettit.
He goes back in front of Stoll as we saw one car on its lid.
Carinta.
Oh, no.
Carinta involved. Shreves is the other. So problems towards the back of the field. Let's see what happened to Carinta. Well, no, maybe not. It might have just been Shreves. It listed him as having just made it into the pit lane, Carinta. I don't know what is up with that. But here is Shreves. And, oh, just gets tipped by Beasley. Wow, we are sending a lot of cars skyward. We need to have a flip count next time, because this has been bizarre.
Now, are we counting how many cars have flipped, or are we counting each car's individual flip?
That's a great question. That is a $1 million question. Pace truck lights are still on. I'm going to try and go through. So you picked Pettit and Stull. Let me get them typed in really quick before I don't have a chance to do so.
Then you got to get your picks in as well.
Yeah, I've got some in mind. Let me get these guys typed in. There's Stull. All right. I'm going to go back here. Let's see. Gowans, he started 7th. Bowman started 5th. Hoffman 6th. And yeah, this is where I'm starting to look. Croak, just because of the amount of cars he's had to get by, yeah, it's been chaotic tonight. But to get by these guys, I'm going to go Matthew Croak for one of my picks. And honestly, I really wanted to pump up the Ross Carinta story, but that's already kind of fallen apart. I think... I'll tell you what, Gowans, 7th to 3rd, I'll take it. So we'll get ready for this restart, I believe this time by Zach. Those are your options. We'll have that vote up shortly. Here we go. To the start zone, 11 to go at Knoxville. That vote now live over on YouTube. Gowans, Bowman, Augustine battling for 3rd. Bowman going to shoot right through the middle after bouncing off the wall as they're trading paint for the lead as well, possibly. Tanner Pettit, Aiden Still, Bowman, another big send.
Back down to the bottom. Gowans hanging on to the 3rd spot. Stoll moving to the race lead in front of Pettit, who's back down to the bottom of the racetrack. to slide back through. He's throwing it in there, trying to make it work. He's hanging it up on the bottom. We have seen Tanner Pettit really utilize that bottom line in a lot of races so far this season. Now he throws it up in front of Aiden, tries to cut back down to the bottom and get the run back on him. Not side by side going into 3. Pettit clear with the race lead.
Contact!
Oh, they're going to be contact!
Pettit pebbled it off of turn 2 there. Still got into his left rear. They keep it moving. We're going to have 7 to go at the stripe. The battle for 3rd is right behind them. This is a fantastic race. Pettit back low, Stull back high. There goes the wing for Bowman. From 3rd, it's back. Oh my goodness. And here we go, side by side for the lead. Pettit down low, he slides up top. Stull tries to adjust, he pulls low.
There's a big snap right there in the center of the corner. Stull tried to throw it back to the inside. Now he's going to rip the top. He's going to get to him, maybe not. Still got about 2 car lengths up to the 24 car. Bowman trying to find a way to see if he can win this race.
Caution.
Gallon right behind.
Caution's out. Kenny Hoffman in trouble. That's unfortunate to see for Aces Up and Tanner Pettit Racing on that number 1 car. He's been a lot of fun to watch this season already, and he does have that black license, that World Championship license here on dirt, so we know he's a very capable driver. I'd imagine this comes with some kind of contact. Absolutely. Simon's got up into the wall, and my gosh, pinball wizard Kenny Hoffman. Let's grab the driver's eye POV one more time. Nothing he could have done there, and that's a rough scene. Turned around, a car coming at you. Oh, that wasn't as bad as the last one we saw, but that was pretty rough.
Yeah, that looked pretty wild right there.
How
you
about
can see it for these guys?
How about these guys for the lead, though, for the win? We won't have many laps to go when we go back green 5, it looks like. Pettit, Stull, and Bowman. How about Bowman? Kind of a sleeper pick. I considered him for driver of the day. Maybe I should have taken him. I guess he just doesn't have many spots gained, but he'll be... It lists him as 4th right now because it puts Hoffman ahead of these guys. There we go, now 3rd. So he is 3rd, up 2 spots. That doesn't sound super impressive, so I skipped over him, but man, he's been all over just trying to hang on to the race car, and he could upset these guys at the front.
You never know what can happen. Should be about 5 laps to go when we take the green, if it cycles through to lap 31 like I think it will.
It will. It should be this time by as well. Everybody nice and tidy up top. They'll cycle down low. Pettit, there he goes. Stull was trying to get to the bottom. He's through the slick. Big restart for Pettit. Stull way behind.
Gonna have some ground to make up through turn number 2. Stull gets right back to him, about 2 car lengths back as he has been the whole time. Bowman, Gallons, Augustine. That's your top 5. They're fighting it out as much as they can. It's 4 laps to go, Andrew.
There you see Stull over the right rear of Tanner Pettit. There's stuff going on in the back. I think that might be Augustine to the wall, maybe Bowman. I'm not sure. It was Augustine. 3 to go this time by for Tanner Pettit. Can he get another win in this series here in 2026? He's already won several this year.
Stull's car has just come to life late in this run, Andrew. I don't know how he's done it, but he's found the speed that he needs to contend with his 24 car. Probably giving him one heck of a challenge, more than we've seen most this season. Popsicle sticks in the air, 2 to go. There's the wing. The wing is on the 24. It's back. It keeps happening to us, Andrew. Oh my goodness. Right to the back bumper. Here we go. White flag is going to be in the air one more time around. Presented by Whiplash Sim Cams. They are nose to nose past the stripe.
There's a little bit of contact. Pettit at the racetrack. Stull pedals it on the bottom. Stull is ahead into turn number 3. Is it going to stand? He's going to stand on it out of turn 4, and at least to the line. It is going to go to Aiden Stull. Pettit 2nd, Gallons 3rd. That was like a classic NASCAR bump and run, Zach, but I don't know if that's going to stand over here on the dirt side.
We shall have to find out.
You see the fireworks.
Whoever that was.
That is beautiful, beautiful stuff here at the virtual racetrack. And we'll get a talk with our top three. I do kind of want to delay here. I wonder, Brody Wilhelm, if you're listening, if we can try to get an official word on that finish, that would be amazing. I do wonder, you said you saw some big contact after the line, Zach?
After the line.
I wonder if there was anything between Stull and Pettit. That's the kind of thing that will absolutely fire a driver up. I like showing the fireworks, but man, they have got a lot of pyrotechnics here at Knoxville. My goodness. There we go.
You said it yourself, it's the sprint car capital of the world.
I guess so. Well, here was the finish of that race. That was going past Checkers. Let's see if there was anything between these two after the line. No, it looks like Pettit left off and Stull came around to the front straightaway and called it an evening. I still want to see, though, that move between them and see what we can make of that. So here we go. Pettit loose out of 2. And then down here to 3 is where it really happens. Or was that 1, I guess? Yeah, it was. Huh.
Did Pettit grab the wall right there? You couldn't see it past the billboards from the top-down view, but could have sworn he potentially grabbed the wall here. Another look at it a little bit more from
this is
better
3 and 4. And then into turn 1. Oh, that's tough.
He did not grab the wall. He bounced off one of the bumps. That was some great car control right there out of Tanner Pettit.
That's a really tough incident, though, Zach. Do you call that back? Do you not? I mean, big run here for Stull. Pettit bobbled coming to that corner. Man, that's close. I would be inclined, I think, to let that stand, personally.
I think so, too. That it feels fair. They didn't wreck each other for it. They drove hard. They raced aggressive. They both crossed the checkered flag, crossed the start-finish line, took the checkered flag under their own power with no damage to their race cars. I'd say it's clean.
Let's go for one more look here. This will be slowed down. So Stull gets this big run. Pettit, I think, is pedaling the car, and I think Stull just stands on it. Down the front stretch, he pulls the move to the inside, and Pettit tries to cover it, but by the time they get down there, I mean, Stull's got his right front along the left rear. It's really tough, and these short wheelbases don't help at all to, be able to decide, does he have the spot inside or should he have lifted out? That's tough.
Well, it also doesn't help the fact that these cars are so quick and so fast, and
yeah,
it's normal in dirt racing to pull alongside someone, and if you had a spotter, you would hear car inside, but they're both just running the bottom. I mean, look at it from this perspective. There you see it. They're both side by side. In a normal corner right here, if they hadn't made contact, they would be running in what would be considered a tandem drift. And they'd both be on that bottom line, just hooking it in such a way that you could say there's a car inside, but you also could say that there isn't a car inside. It's really tough to call, to be perfectly honest. I'm so used to the asphalt side of things where if that was an asphalt race, that would be Stull's corner, as in he was alongside. He had a tire to tire, which would be fender to fender. I think it's fair.
It also depends, I think, as Josh Conover is alluding to in the YouTube chat. It depends on how you look at it, real versus sim. Because in a real car, absolutely, that's a situation that if you're Stull, you should probably back out of. Unless it's like, the Knoxville Nationals or something, maybe. I don't know. But, realistically, that's a low percentage place to be. On iRacing, it's a little different. You can bump a little bit and be okay in these cars. But if that's real and you put your right front to another guy's left rear, I mean, that's going to go very poorly for you. But let's take a look at the unofficial race results. I'm going to stress unofficial, as Aiden Stull was the first to the line, Tanner Pettit second, Matthew Gowans in third. We'll be talking to each of those drivers. Noah Bowman in fourth, Matthew Croak in fifth. From there, it's Augustine Gaines, Sargent Sansone, and Beasley able to grab a top 10.
Outside the top 10, Cody Downard in the 11th position with Jay Schaff right behind him. That would be your last lead lap finisher as well, that 12 car in the 12th spot. 13th on the official or unofficial results, Casey Simons. He is the first car one lap down, and then it's way on back to the rest of the drivers. Kenny Hoffman ends up 6 laps down at the end in 14th. Randy Shreves 11 laps down in that 15th spot. 16th is Damian Fall in the, 16 laps down. So 16th position with 16 laps down. Same thing goes for the next position. 17th on the track, 17 laps down. Ross Corinta in that 10 car. We saw what happened to him, and then Joseph Groom behind him as well in the 18th spot, 20 laps down. You hate to see it for Groom because he was having a strong night before everything just went topsy-turvy for him, with Jesse Dawkins right behind him, 25 laps down the 19th spot. Tayton Sander, 34 laps down the 20th spot, and then 2 cars right behind them to round out your field, Andrew. In the 21st and 22nd position, it's going to be Brandon Matson, 34 laps down, and Aiden Forster, who I don't think ever took the green flag in that 23 car.
No, he didn't. Unfortunate stuff there for Forster. Not sure what happened, but I'm sure we'll be checking back in with him soon enough. Let's talk to our drivers. I think that's the best way to get a read on exactly how they feel about that, right? Let's just talk straight through them. Aiden, we broke down the incident as best as we could on our side. Obviously, a big part of that is, real versus sim. There was definitely some contact. How do you feel about it afterwards?
First of all, it's not how I want to win a race, but what I saw from it was, from the entry, I thought, when I pulled down below him, I thought I saw his right front going straight to the wall. So I thought he was running top. And then from there, I just couldn't get slowed down. And me and him talked and basically said it was just a racing deal.
Yeah, it seemed like you were both trying to, he was trying to cover that corner into one, and you obviously had an opportunity to go for it. So it sounds like you guys are good afterwards, though. You talked about it?
Yeah.
So obviously there is money on the line. How fortunate, I guess, do you feel then to be able to, have that conversation, have that incident, first of all, on the racetrack for the win in one of these races, and then talk about it and be okay? I mean, a lot of guys on iRacing, that's not a civil conversation. So it's great that you guys are able to do so. There aren't many that can do that.
Yeah. I mean, Tanner's never drove me dirty, or really any of his drivers, honestly. He's pretty good guy and races clean almost 100% of the time, so all respect towards him, and he drove a great race too, and I just got the edge, I guess, kind of moved him, but not intentional at all.
Assuming the win stands, I think this is a pretty big statement for you, right? We've been seeing you get better and better the last handful of races we've had, but we've also been kind of racing kind of once a month the last couple of months. So as we plan to get a few more in here in June, this is pumping up some momentum for you. I'm sure obviously you have other leagues and such you run, but I mean, how big is this for you specifically to get this win?
Definitely pretty big for my team and all, probably this is my first time I won money in a sprint car race, at least a decent amount, but yeah, definitely just glad to be in winner's circle.
And it's good to talk to you, Aiden. Congratulations. Again, assuming the win stands, we haven't heard otherwise from Brody. I would imagine if you guys are good with it, it probably will. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's Aiden Stull. Good to talk to him after all of that, Zach. And it's even better to hear that, these guys are able to talk about it and kind of move on, realize it's racing, and, go on to the next one.
A gentleman's agreement, in a way. Bringing in now the driver who led the most laps of the night, all but about 10, Tanner Pettit. This is going to feel like one that got away. You were so strong all race. Stoll got to you, and then, it was history from there. From what we understand in the previous interview, it seems like you guys have already talked about it, maybe found some common ground, and maybe walking away from this with a good perspective.
Yeah, definitely. We had good speed there. Unfortunately, Aiden lost power about halfway through that, so lost a teammate there, but all in all, we had a good run, and definitely stings a little bit because the last Knoxville race we ended up winning it, but we had a yellow under incident, or an incident under yellow, which ended up taking that one away, and this one kind of stuck away from us there at the end. I just didn't feel comfortable in the top 1 and 2 at all, so figured I'd try to go down, and the second I went down, he had already stuck his nose in there, so is what it is, and I guess we move to the next one.
Absolutely. And one of the big things that was on my mind is just how much I want to say that Stoll was able to catch you over the course of the late race runs. Do you feel like with how the track had been working itself in, or just even how your setup was building over the course of the run, do you think that Stoll had some sort of advantage over you at that end there, or maybe there was something on your end that you felt you could have done differently to mitigate that advantage he seemed to have?
I guess potentially I ran my tacky setup, so I definitely plan on running the grip more and planned on it staying a little bit more hooked up, which it did. I just think some wind there was pushing against 1 and 2 and maybe really uncomfortable on that end, and I just couldn't figure it out down there. All in all, I should have stuck to the bottom. I was okay down there. I could hold good ground, and I think if I would have stuck down there, I think it would have been all right. But I knew Aiden was running the top up there, and I knew he was gaining a little bit of ground, so I decided to move up, and I think it just hurt me worse.
Well, you still brought it home in the second spot. That's a great race for you guys, especially even after starting third. I always consider it a win if you finish higher than you qualified. So congratulations on your second place finish. Hopefully we'll be talking to you again at the next race.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And if I can get you real quick,
Absolutely.
Tanner, I just have a question for you. So it looked like watching that, eye test, it seemed like you were having trouble getting the power down, and you said you ran your tacky setup. Is that fair to say then you were having trouble getting the gas back down out of the corner?
Yes and no. I think that Aiden was just doing a better job there on the top. I don't know if he had necessarily had anything too different. He just was running a little bit straighter, a little bit smoother up there. And the trick is here, you don't want to get all the way up and quite in the rough stuff. Otherwise, you end up getting caught and flipping or something. So you want to run right below it. And he was just able to do that better than I could. All in all, I kind of wish I just had a car in front of me really there halfway through the race. Once the bottom kind of started to go away, if I had a car in front of me and I could see how they were running it, I think I could have followed them and picked up on it. But being the leader without a mirror definitely makes for better racing. It's the way it's supposed to be, and it kind of bit me tonight.
There you go. Good to talk to you, Tanner. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
And Tanner's also currently leading the driver of the day vote. Never mind, that swung big time when we were talking to him. It's going to be Aiden Stull now ahead. Well, we'll see how it goes. The driver we're about to talk to, Zach, actually is not in the... he's in the running technically, but he doesn't have any votes for him right now. Maybe this interview will change that, as Matthew Gowans goes third this evening. And Matthew, that was a fantastic race ahead of you, distracting you from what was going on for the battle for third. But you had your hands full. Describe all of that. I guess probably the last half of the race. It was wild.
It sure was. I was in the thick of it there at one stage, and I actually wasn't sure which line to run, and I was running the top, and I think I slid Mike Augustine. I think I parked it on him. I didn't think he would have got around the corner as quick as he did, so sorry for Mike for that. And then battling with Noah Bowman, I think it was, and I couldn't shake him, and he'd take the lead back from me, and I was trying to hit the bottom, and I couldn't hit the bottom properly. I think the wind was blowing me up in 1 and 2, so it was hard to hold the bottom, but yeah, it was a good race. The track was quite tricky, so
it was a lot of fun for us to watch and try to talk about. You guys kept us busy. I'm curious, on the sprint car side especially of dirt racing, just based on the pretty obvious difference in accents, right? Latency is a big deal with these cars moving so fast around these tracks. Knoxville, of course, you guys are really ripping around this place. So does that, I guess, at all impact the way you drive these races, or are you really just sending it and seeing what happens? Obviously, sometimes if you get a little too close, that latency, just being from Australia versus the United States, that's going to get you sometimes.
Well, in the past, in the American servers like this, especially if you're on the wall and you're right behind them, like their car can glitch and it looks like they're actually in the wall. So you kind of then go to cut under them, and then next minute they're 2 or 3 cars ahead of you, so they weren't actually in the wall, but because you cut under them, you're now off the racing line, and you just behind the 8 ball again. You got to wind it up again and try and get back on them. And then, but when you're following certain drivers, you got faith in it that they're off the walls, even if it's glitching and showing they're in the wall. Sometimes you just stay in it. But during that race, then I didn't have that issue whatsoever, and I don't know if that's down to the new patch they deployed the other day, where they described about the network and that, it was a bit better apparently. So I don't know if that came into play.
Yeah, I saw the build notes had some details on that. I'm curious as well, as far as just the I rating goes. Some pretty big numbers. I mean, Tanner ahead of you, 10,600. Even Noah behind you, 5,000 is still a pretty large number, and you yourself in the 7,000s, it looks like. It's hard to get groups with this high of, I guess, of a strength of field, SOF, without being, an official league or official, pro series. So how fortunate, I guess, would you consider yourself to be able to race in these kinds of events and be able to rough it up with all these guys?
Yeah, well, that's what I wanted to do. So, I didn't work today. What is it now? It's nearly 12:30, so midday. But it rained today, so I couldn't work due to, what I do. So, I just signed up for this league. This is my first time I've ran it. And obviously I want to try and race, Tanner, Aiden, Kenny Hoffman, Mike Augustine, all them fast lads, just to see where you're at. And you can get a gauge of where you're at and what you need to work on. And, they're a tough crew. So, they don't leave nothing on the table. Going into that last corner, Tanner was in second, and I seen he was going to the top, and I knew he was just going to try and rip it. So I was just saying to myself, just nail the bottom in 3 and 4. Hopefully he makes a mistake, but he didn't. And that you can't let up against them fellas. They're too good.
I'll tell you what, Matthew, it's good to talk to you, and I'll be praying for, I guess it's a little different from the Toto song, but I'll be hoping for a few more rains down in Australia so we can get you in some more of these races. It's good to talk to you. Congratulations on 3rd place, and hopefully we see you again soon.
Thanks very much. Thank you. Bye.
Matthew Gowan's there in 3rd place. It's rare that we actually get to talk to Australian sim racers at Pits.tv because we are US based. We broadcast it usually about 7, 8, 9, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time, whatever it is, whatever time of year. And as he just said, Zach, midday. It's tough to get some of these Aussies on midday because they're working, as he just said. So that's cool. Feel to talk to one of those guys this evening, and I guess this afternoon for him. Hopefully we get some more of that. I always see, if we bring up the grid, even we can go through it. Well, let's go through here. Wait for it. There's Australia for Gowans. I think we had there's a Canadian there for Casey Simons, Canadian there for Croak. And we've had a few more. Yeah, Damien Paul, another Australian there. So it's good to see that variety of nationality, getting some international flavor here in these races, because I will say, it does sometimes get kind of old to see nothing but United States there in that little graphic there on the grid. And Zach Murtis might have had a Discord issue again, but I can tell you we have solidified ourselves a Driver of the Day vote winner. And it is going to be the driver of the number 72 or number 5, however you want to look at it. But regardless, the race winner, at least unofficially this evening, Aiden Stull. And that's big. Again, somebody that doesn't have the big TPR logos all over his car. A little bit of a slightly lower I rating, grabbing the win this evening. That's a good story there. So we're glad Aiden was able to grab the win. And hopefully we're talking to him again soon. Of course, as mentioned earlier, up next for us here at Pit.tv, we are actually headed out to Nashville Super Speedway in Lebanon, Tennessee this Friday in a couple of nights' time. That'll be for the Steering Wheel Nation Truck Series. We meant to have that on the graphic. I guess I loaded the one that I made ahead of time for today. That's okay. But yeah, Friday evening, should be about 8 p.m. Eastern. Tune in for that one. Should be a lot of fun. You can still sign up. If you're interested in signing up, contact us here at Pits.tv. It's about $10, $12 to race, and you can definitely win some cool prizes. I believe there's a trophy to each winner, a media interview, and everything else. So definitely reach out to us here at Pits.tv. We'll get you to the right places to get signed up for that truck race at Nashville this Friday. Otherwise, you see the next 3 afterwards, a couple of NORA Retro Cup Series events, one at Sonoma, one at Chicagoland, and in between there, we're going to break out the wingless cars, finally the USAC cars, if you will, at Williams Grove Speedway in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. I am excited for that. that. Williams Grove does not get run very often, I feel like, so it'll be very cool to bring out the dirt cars at Williams Grove next week. I'm excited for that. Zach, in the meantime, if you are back with us, if you're here, any final thoughts here from Knoxville?
Give me more dirt racing.
I agree. I agree. That's a good short way to put it.
I love seeing how it all shapes out. It's just beautiful to me sometimes. I just love racing.
Well, hey, I had a lot of fun. Oh boy, a car there through the camera on the berm there down low. And you know what? We got some broadcast to TikTok for the first time this evening. Thanks for joining us. I mean, the numbers weren't massive over there. We got to build a following. So if you did watch this evening, if you have enjoyed it, whether on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, TikTok, whatever platform you're on, give us a like, a follow, whatever, support the stream, and we'll be able to keep doing these all year long. It's going to be a lot of fun. So congratulations, of course, to Aiden Stahl on the win this evening and the driver of the day vote. A big thank you to Whiplash Simcams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murder Sports, CC's Business, the North American Racing League, Whiplash Creative, and TZO Designs. And we will catch you all in the next one. Again, for this series, next up is Williams Grove next week. There's not really a perfectly set schedule, but we at least know we'll be at Williams Grove next week. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. We'll see you all next time here at Pit Stop TV, hopefully Friday evening, Nashville Super Speedway in the NASCAR Craftsman Series trucks. We'll see you there for the Steer Wheel Nation Truck Series.